If your drinking is under control, but only in the same way that a house fire is under control, since the roof hasn't collapsed, this video is for you. Because there's a specific kind of person who gets trapped by alcohol. The smart one, the competent one, the high-functioning one, the one with the career, the reputation, the family, the credentials, the respect. You don't look like a cautionary tale. You look like someone who has it together. And that's exactly why this is dangerous. Because from the outside, nothing looks urgent. But inside, you know the truth. The private negotiations, the morning promises, the nightly exceptions. That quiet fear that you're drifting toward a line you can't see clearly until you cross it. And then it's too late. I'm Dr. Donald Crowe. I practiced emergency medicine for 40 years, and I've been sober for the last 27. And today I want to give you 3 concepts, not secrets, not gimmicks, 3 paradigm shifts that, if you can actually absorb them, can make the whole process of saving your own life simpler. Not easy, simpler. Because the problem for most smart, high-functioning drinkers is not intelligence. It's not discipline. It's not lack of motivation. The problem is what they believe, their mental model. This is where a lot of smart people get stuck, because they keep treating their drinking like it's evidence of a flaw in their moral makeup. If I were stronger, I'd stop. If I were more disciplined, I'd control it. If I were less stressed, I wouldn't need it. And that sounds reasonable until you zoom out. You have willpower. You've proven that. You've built a career. You've handled pressure. You raised a family. You've achieved things that most people can't. So why is this the one area where your willpower seems to evaporate at 7:30 at night? Because drinking then isn't just a decision. It's a trained pathway. Alcohol isn't just a beverage. It's a learned solution, a chemically reinforced habit loop. Stress hits. The brain anticipates relief. You drink. The nervous system gets a temporary shift, and the brain records the outcome. That worked. Not morally, biologically. Then it repeats. Add to this that same alcohol corrupts your brain's inhibitory pathways, so that part of it that was supposed to tell you you've had enough ceases to function effectively. Over time, you stop drinking because you decide to. You start drinking because you're cued. And you keep drinking because the braking system of your brain is faulty. That's conditioning and biology conspiring against you. And once you understand that, something important happens. Shame becomes less useful. Shame doesn't fix conditioning. It doesn't change your neurophysiology. Strategy does. Structure does. And most importantly, new actions do. All of this does not mean you're not responsible. You are. But responsibility isn't self-hatred. Responsibility is recognizing the mechanism and changing your inputs. Now, concept number 2. Willpower is not the engine of long-term sobriety. It's the starter motor. I want you to think about the phrase white-knuckling it. That's willpower sobriety. And yes, it can work for a while. Weeks, months, sometimes longer. Especially in early sobriety, that willpower is powered by fear. Fear of consequences, fear of loss, fear of embarrassment, fear of death. Fear is a powerful short-term fuel, but it burns dirty and it doesn't last. Because the moment life calms down, the moment consequences fade, the brain starts whispering again. See, you're fine. You overreacted. You can handle it now. And that whisper is persuasive because it's delivered in your own voice. It sounds like logic. It sounds like a plan. It sounds like maturity. But it's the old conditioning speaking. This is why so many high-functioning people relapse right when things start improving. They don't relapse because they don't want sobriety. They relapse because they never built a new system. They stopped drinking, but they didn't replace the function alcohol served. They cleared the ground but didn't build a new dwelling. Real recovery isn't not drinking. Real recovery is building a life where drinking no longer makes sense. Not morally, not practically. Drinking becomes irrelevant. And that requires a different approach than just willpower. It requires an identity shift, and that requires new habits, routines, and beliefs. It requires new actions when encountering what I call daily turning points. Those predictable moments where the old you used to drink, the end of the workday, lonely evenings, weekends, celebrations, conflict, boredom. Recovery is what you do at those turning points, not what you intend to do, what you do. And that leads to concept number 3. Normal drinking is not the goal. Freedom is the goal. This is a tough one because many people trying to change still have one fantasy alive in their mind. If I could just drink like other people. 1 or 2 glasses, special occasions, no fallout, no obsession, no loop. But here's the problem. That fantasy keeps alcohol in the center of your mental universe. You're still oriented around it, you're still measuring yourself against it, still negotiating with it. And even if you could pull that off, what would you actually gain? You'd gain a chemical that steals sleep, destabilizes mood, generates anxiety, erodes motivation, and accelerates that slow march toward an early grave 1,000 different ways. And, most importantly, a chemical that steals your authentic life by masquerading as your reward, your relief, your off switch. That's not freedom, but slavery with a better sales pitch. I'm not here to shame normal drinkers. I'm here to tell you you're aiming too low. The goal isn't to drink normally. The goal is to live authentically, to live awake, to live with a nervous system that isn't being chemically yanked around, to live with self-respect that doesn't require daily negotiations. That's a second act worth having. Now, let me ground this in reality. If you're watching this and thinking, okay, fine, but what do I do tonight? Good, that's the right question. And here's my recommendation. If you want to quit drinking, don't drink tonight. Here's the framework. Don't fight the war in your head. Win it with behavior. When the cravings to drink rise, and they will, the mistake is trying to argue with your brain like it's a courtroom. You will lose. Because the craving brain doesn't want logic. It wants relief. So you respond with actions that change its state. Not promises, not motivational speeches, actions. Move your body, change your environment. Make contact with another human being. Eat, hydrate, shower, take a walk. Do something that interrupts the loop. And yes, at first you'll have to do it without believing that it will help. That's normal. Early recovery is often an act of faith expressed through behaviors. You don't feel your way into new actions. You act your way into new feelings. And here's the deeper point. Every one of those new actions is an identity vote. Every time you choose not to drink, you're not just avoiding alcohol. You're becoming a different person. The problem is, none of this process is intuitive. None of it is taught in schools, and it's not part of our culture. These concepts that I've presented require a seismic shift in thinking. That's why many more people want to get sober than actually succeed in doing so. If you've reached a point where you're ready to take action to free yourself from alcohol, I ask you to consider if that action will just be a repeat of what you've already tried. If so, can you really expect different results? To help motivated individuals discover and utilize a new understanding of their relationship with alcohol, as well as develop a new toolkit of actions to employ when they quit drinking, I have created a 90-day sobriety survival kit that I believe can be an important and valuable resource to you as you begin the journey into sobriety. And I've left a link in the description below if you want to explore it more fully. Also, if you're unsure whether your drinking is still rational or whether it's crossed into irrational, I want you to get out of the fog and into clarity. Click the link below in the description and download my free CCBBAA checklist. It's a brief self-assessment tool designed to help you see your drinking pattern objectively, without shame and without labels. It will help you make the next right decision with the evidence instead of emotion. I'm Dr. Donald Crowe, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment below. I've been using these comments to help me generate topics for future videos, and they really help me stay motivated as well. I read them all. And if you've been having a dry January, this video might be of particular interest to you. I'll see you in the next one.